So I pretty much used my Fire TV Stick Select and Vega OS all of yesterday because I really wanted to test it out and see if I noticed any differences. And it's funny because in yesterday's video, I mentioned how I thought it just seemed like slower, right? And I had somebody in the comments even say, nah, it's faster, trust me. But I'm not the only one that came to the conclusion, and we now have proof that yes, it is slower in at least one way. And we have some other information regarding some of the apps that are on this device. So that's what we're going to go over today. So yes, the Fire TV Stick Select is indeed slower. And it's not that it's lagging necessarily. When I move through it, it's quite smooth. But you know when you get a long list and you just want to hold down the button and let it scroll through? Do you see the speed it's moving at right now? Well, this is actually what's slower here. So let me show you the difference between this right here and one of the other Fire TV OS models. So AFTV News actually did a comparison video. So on the left-hand side, you have Vega OS, and on the right side, the Firestick 4K Plus. And look how, look at the speed difference in the movement. And I want to be clear, for the most part, this isn't a big deal, but let's say you're using IPTV Smarters and you want to scroll through a long list of channels, or you're using the live channel app. Look how slow you have to scroll through it. It's like you're individually clicking the button and it's slowly responding each time you click it instead of doing like a concise scroll that's happening on the right-hand side. So it's such a small detail, but it just goes to show that like this thing was not ready at launch. That for me is 100% obvious. And you can say what you want. I do not believe this is ready at launch. And there's some other reasons it's not ready that we're going to go over right here because AFTV News, and also me, honestly, while I'm using some of these apps, did notice a difference. And one of the big differences is with Plex. You know, with Plex, you can play your own local media that you host on their servers, stuff like that. That is all great. But there's actually some big differences in Plex. Now, I do want to correct one thing that I believe AFTV News says in this article. Because in this article, where did he say it? He says in this article that this version of Plex that Amazon has put onto the Fire Stick Select is a native version, as in it's an actual Vega OS app. But I don't think it is. And I want to show you how I think you can tell the difference between a Vega OS app, and I could be wrong, by the way, and an app that they are basically using Amazon's new Android app cloud server where they're kind of streaming the app to your device, because obviously one of the big problems with this is Amazon didn't have every company make an app, right? So that's why it's so limited. It's because a lot of these companies are like, well, we don't want to make it for your new one, for your new device, except for the major ones like Netflix, for example. So let's go to applications here, and we're going to go to manage installed apps. Now, what I want to show you is when we go to an app such as Crave, you can tell this is a Vega OS app because it has version 1.0.0 on it, right? That makes sense. It's a new app. It's the first version, 1.0.0. Netflix 1.0.5. This is because Netflix already had Vega OS, so this is like the fifth version, the fifth iteration, because they've had it for Echo Show devices, for instance. But when we go to an app like Plex, the version is 2025 27.0. And this is where I think this is actually one of the streamed apps. I think that's how you can tell. Now, I could be wrong. This could be a native Plex, Vega app. This could be running the Vega OS file. But I think when it has the version number like that, I think that's how you can distinguish it. We go to Pluto, 0.8.1. Does that mean it's in beta? I don't know. But same kind of thing, right? Makes sense. It's an early version. But we go to Prime Video, and it's like a weird 2.15.51165 version. Now, this could all mean nothing. Tubi TV as well, 0.1.3. But I just find it weird that Plex has this 2025.27.0 version name instead of like a 1.0 or, you know, something that makes more sense for an original version of Plex. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope that makes sense. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but it kind of makes me feel like this is one of the streamed apps. Now, one thing that AFTV News also pointed out in his article is that this has a slightly different interface from the Fire TV. Now, he said this is like a new Vega interface, but I thought they switched to this interface a while back and they just never updated it for Fire TV. I'm pretty sure this is their brand new permanent interface that was supposed to be updated on Fire TV devices. It is a little different, and it's definitely not as clean as having the side-scrolling menu. You can see everything is now labeled at the top here, including your favorites, your home, your live TV section, your on-demand. But the biggest part here that was mentioned is the actual ability to use your local media and what settings you can adjust on it. So what he noticed is videos are only capable of being played in at H.264 with AAC encoded audio. But what's worse is it's limited to a bitrate of 7 megabits per second. So if you don't know 1080p content, I just brought this up just to kind of give you guys examples. 1080p content typically plays at around 3 to 6 or 6 to 12. But as soon as you get to 4K, you're looking more at 15 to 25 or 15 or 25 to 51, depending on what frames per second it's being played at. And what this means is any content that's playing at a higher bit rate will probably just be like downgraded. So it's just really weird that it's capped at that. And it kind of, I guess, just shows the limitations of the app itself. So not only is the interface not look as nice, which I think, by the way, was on purpose, because I'm pretty sure that's how it was updated a little while back, if I remember right, but also that your local media doesn't have nearly the capabilities and video customization options that it has in other Plex. So what does all this mean? I mean, for me, it's just further proof that this was just thrown together. Very little thought was put into it. They really rushed it out. And here is what this is the conclusion I've come to. Okay, Amazon knew this wasn't ready. They knew it's not as good. But what they know is people are going to buy it not really knowing that it's this new Vega OS, right? They're going to be like, the Firestick 4K Select. It's slightly cheaper. Great. They're going to purchase it. They're going to watch Netflix. They might be annoyed at some of the things that are different. But for the most part, because it's the same look, most people are just going to use this and be like, okay, so they're slowly going to adapt more people into it and just slowly phase out the Fire TV OS. So next time there's a new Fire Stick launch, it's going to be another Vega OS version that's going to phase out maybe the Fire Stick Lite. Or maybe they'll leave it for a while and they'll have the Fire Stick Lite Select or HD, whatever they call it. And they will slowly phase out the Fire OS, slowly improving this one to where it's actually usable. And that will happen. This will run clean at some point or another. And it will have a ton of apps, but nothing to what the old Fire OS store had. And that's pretty much how it's going to go. So I think it's a bad move to release a product like this. I hate when companies do this. They force a release because they want to make more money. And because honestly, as they release it, now they have money coming in for this product. Obviously, it's Amazon, so it doesn't matter as much. But they're able to spend more time now on updates on this because they now have a user base that they need to update this device for. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I personally think this is dumb, but who am I to say? Amazon's like a multi-billion-dollar company, so they probably know better. And really quickly, guys, if you want to support the channel and you enjoy my content, if you don't know, YouTube is paying creators a lot less. So one of the ways I'm able to survive and continue to make free content for you guys is when you purchase my IP Vanish link down below. Now, not only does that support me, and if you're a fan, that's a great way to do that, but you also get something out of it. You get a great VPN that's going to allow you to do a lot of different stuff, assuming you're not using the Fire Stick Select because they don't have VPNs on it. And the best part is they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you like it or you don't like it, you can always get your money back within that 30-day period. And you get 3 gigabytes of eSIM data every single month for as low as $2.19 a month, which is crazy. So guys, check it out down below. Link is in the description, and I might even pin it in the comments. Bye, guys.